I'm back here in Sunbury, Ohio at my third horse show of the year. I can tell that going to this many shows this early on is... Wait a minute, this is gonna be a helmet. Seasoning both of us. I don't need to put this on, I need to put the helmet on. I'm out here in the warm-up pen, and it's a totally different setup at this show than what we've been to before. Willow did notice the judges' stands, and she was a little bit concerned, but the nice thing about this setup is it makes it really easy to be able to ride around the judges' stands. So that was good. We got a lot of chance to get near them, and she settled in. Warm-up is over, and I met some people that were super helpful and friendly and picked up a really cool tip. Count the strides, come off the rail at the letter, start counting the strides, use the same strides in each quarter. And because I already count so much when I ride, I count when I'm trotting and I count when I'm cantering. A lot of times I'm doing 8 counts because it helps me keep my rhythm. Oh my goodness, such a breakthrough. It was so awesome. You know, maybe one way to look at the showing, because it is expensive to do, it is a little bit like 6 riding lessons this weekend. I already got my value of a riding lesson just from that one tip that I just picked up from a fellow competitor in the warm-up pen. We're headed up because Willow's gonna become an official pony. Well, it's official. Willow is officially a pony. She measured in at about 54 inches. That means that there are some pony classes that we could show in when we go to shows like this one, or we could also possibly go to Pony Nationals. I'm anticipating that that's going to be our lowest test score yet. I haven't actually gone up, and I'm going to show again before I go up and find out. Ever find yourself in the show pen thinking about what just happened? Like, oh, did I go, what happened in that corner? Was I to this? Was I to that? That means you've decided that you're going to be the judge. Okay, you're riding the horse, like you need to be the showman at the moment. I went in and I'm like, I've got this. I've ridden this test so many times at home with Gabby that Gabby knows this test. This is crazy how many times I've ridden this test. So I went in, down center line, turned, extended, and then I was like, oh, crud, there's a bunch of transitions that happen down at A in this pattern, and they ring the bell. We went off pattern, and she's like, that was supposed to be a shoulder in, and I was like, oh, that's right. Came back around, she's like, start again over in this corner. I started again, and then it was so cool because my brain showed up. Because all of a sudden my brain was like, oh, we're gonna live through this. Oh, we're good. And so then, rest of the pattern, still no reader. I actually rode better. Tomorrow, you remember the patterns. Okay, it's day 2. We're getting ready to go into the next class. See Willow sleeping in the sun? But that's a much better look. Like, that's when you can start to tell she's settling in. And so, same thing going into this one. I'm gonna give myself permission to use all of my aids and not kind of get a little bit like, I see it's perfect, it works, and it's not. And it sounds totally cheesy, but it's true, so I might as well tell you. On our last extension across, I came around and I'm like, I'm gonna trust you and we're gonna go. And she like hit her little stride, like she flung her feet out there, and I was like, I'm almost tearing up. We're together today. So I'm a little overdressed for grazing a horse at a dressage show. But here's a fun thing. We have some friends, and we're headed to the wedding of their son this afternoon, and they're holding it in their indoor arena. She's not going to the wedding. She'll stay here at the show.
down in the dirt.
Good morning. It's the last day of the show, Sunday morning. You know, it doesn't seem like I should be this tired. There's 4 different ways I look at this. I draw, in my podcast, I talk about this 4-quadrant thing. So you draw like a plus sign, and then in each one of those squares, I put the rider's mind, the rider's body, the horse's mind, the horse's body. And what's going on at these early shows is that my mind is burning extra energy. There's worry or fret or unknowns, and I'm burning extra energy. And so is Willow. This isn't a physical tired of like overridden or overworked that way. This is kind of an emotional tired that we're both gonna work through. Okay, let's go braid. I decided that one of the comments I'd gotten was, less hand, more seat in my downward transitions. So on my last halt, and I think the video camera quit on my husband, but on the last halt I used my seat and we actually got a baby slide. So I'm gonna guess that's gonna say something like abrupt. I'm hoping it says something like abrupt halt, but shows effort. I could feel myself reverting to some of my reining habits in the warm-up pen, which was really interesting. It was interesting to feel that my body was reverting, and then that was throwing things off with us. So it is what it is, but another day, more to practice at home. There's a dressage article that I read that talks about the levels of competency, and they say you start out unconsciously incompetent, then you become consciously incompetent, then you become consciously competent, and then you become unconsciously competent. And I think part of what happened today is I told myself, you've got this, you know the pattern. So basically I was trying to shift myself into what I know how to do in reining, which is unconsciously competent and ride the pattern from that realm. But what I think also happened was my brain went, oh, you want unconsciously competent? And it shifted itself into the realm of reining and all the other unconsciously competent things I have over in that side. So I was actually a little bit better off yesterday when everything was consciously competent. It's a thought. Last test of the day is complete, and I got another error on the course, which means they rung the bell and had to tell me where to go. The bell ringing is getting less scary. Am I gonna go off pattern twice? Off test. I'm saying off pattern because in reining it's off pattern. In here it's off test apparently. Off course. How about if I just make my own summary? And now at the gate, they're teasing my pony and saying someday she'll have a rider that's going to stay on pattern with her. they're like, they say she's thinking, well, I tolerate this one. Is that true? We came back to our stall and this was hanging there. Are you trying to hit the off button?